Hello and welcome to Raising the Roof for All Learners. I'm Patricia McRhoads. But before I tell you anything about me or what we're going to do today together, I want you to look at this cuteness scale. It helps me as a presenter to know how you all are feeling right now in this moment. So take a gander and choose what number are you feeling right now and hold it up in the air with your fingers. Okay, now that you've chosen your animal, think about what you might need today to make sure you're fully present. If you're feeling like a number 2, a little sleepy, then you might want to make sure you're sipping that ice cold water or stop out and grab yourself a nice Coke. If you're feeling maybe, I don't know, a number 5 or number 8, like you're like kind of in it, but also maybe in a weird place, maybe like you have something else on your mind. This happens to me a lot. I'll get distracted by something on my phone will pop up and I'll get distracted. So you want to flip that over or stick it in your bag if you can. Of course, there's emergencies and you can pop out in the hallway if you need to take a call or a text. But I really believe that you get out of a PD whatever you put into it. And so if you're able to today, just making sure somehow you're fully present. Go ahead and turn to a neighbor near you and talk about which animal you chose and what you might need today to make sure you're fully present. Okay, so who am I? I'm Patricia McRhoads. This is my gorgeous daughter, Taylor. She is 6 now and going into 1st grade. My full-time job is an instructional coach with the North Carolina New Teacher Support Program. So I work with UNC Charlotte and I get to coach teachers. I get to see different teachers every day. I move around the region and it's really fun and interesting work. I'm originally from New York. Moved down here a couple of decades ago, actually, as soon as I graduated to look for a teaching job and found one in Cabarrus County. So that's where I started off. You can see my contact information at the bottom here. It'll be repeated at the end of today's session. If you want to keep in touch after today, I would love that. If you want to share some things or run some ideas past me, I am really appreciative of being a thought partner with people. That's how I got this idea for the training today. So you let me know if you'd like to keep in touch. All right, so what's the plan for today? I'm going to ask you to reflect on the importance of text accessibility in the classroom. I'm going to ask you to collaborate with the great minds in this room to share differentiation strategies, specifically in reading. And then you'll more deeply understand scaffolds that text engineering specifically can provide. So text engineering is a strategy we're going to delve into today. And then you'll get a chance to experiment with some sample text or text that you might have in mind to teach next school year. ISTE standards that this training relates to, all about personalization of learning, right? So we are making text accessible to the readers in our classroom, and we're designing those authentic learning activities for them with the use of technology. This is really important. Make sure that you open this bit.ly now. You will see an agenda that shows each activity you'll participate in today. You'll see the why for each activity and then any materials that you might need, links and things like that. So make sure you have that open and just kind of peruse that for a minute while you're waiting for everyone to have it open. All right, now that you've taken a look at the agenda, think about what's a question or what's a thought that you hope to have addressed by the end of today's session. If you wouldn't mind just jotting that down in your agenda, it's a copy only version. No one can see it. So you're just gonna write down what do you hope to have answered by the end of today's session together. All right, so now I'm going to pass out a paper copy to you. I know paper at a tech conference, but this is a sonnet, Shakespearean sonnet number 12. When I do count the clock that tells time. What I'm going to ask you to do is read this sonnet independently, silently, and then you're going to write a $2 summary on the index card in front of you. A $2 summary is a very short summary of something because each word is worth 10 cents. Okay, so you're going to want to keep it around $2. If it's not exactly, don't stress. It's okay. And we're going to take just a few minutes to read and then jot our summaries. If you haven't gotten through the reading and the time's getting short, just jump to a summary of whatever you think this sonnet is mostly about. Low stress, low stakes activity here. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now that you've had a chance to jot your $2 summary, don't worry if it didn't make that much sense to you. It's okay, it's tough. What you're going to do is fold your index card in half. And when you hear the music, you're going to start moving around the room. You can dance. If you feel so inclined, you can walk if you don't feel so inclined. But you need to be moving around the classroom. Every person you pass, or as many as you can, you're going to switch papers with them. So the paper's going to go back and forth. You're not going to look at them right away until the music stops. When the music stops, you'll find a partner. Boom, you'll lock in your partner with a fist bump. Open up your index cards, read them to each other, and discuss for about 1 minute, maybe 2. And then whenever you hear the music start again, you'll move and find a different partner. Any questions before we start? All right, let's go. So at this point, you're moving around, you're finding a partner, sharing what's on the card, discussing the summaries of people in the room. All right, so let's come back together. The musical chairs would have happened 2 to 3 times, depending how long it took. And find your seats again. Thank you for participating in this activity. It gives us a chance to get some movement in there and network a bit with the people around us. What did you notice? Not necessarily about the exact summaries and what the summaries were, but what did you notice as you were discussing what you saw like trends on the $2 summaries? I'm hoping participants will say something like, you may have noticed that there's a variety of strengths and reading challenges in this group. So some of us are very familiar with Shakespeare and we knew exactly what this sonnet was about. Some of us had no idea and we had a blank note card, which is totally fine. Some of us like kind of got the gist of some of it, but maybe missed the theme of it or the meaning or the tone of it. We're all at different ability levels because we have different experiences, maybe different interest levels with this type of text. This is just like in our classroom, and we know that. So this is how our readers might feel in the classroom when we pass out a text where everyone gets the same thing. I know that the expertise is in this room right now with this group of people. And so I want to hear from you. What do you already do, or what do you know that teachers already do to support readers in the classroom? And if you don't mind going to slido.com, you have a link in your agenda, or you can just type it in. There's the code there. You'll jot in as many answers as you want to, and we'll see it pop up in the word cloud, and then we'll discuss what we see. Okay, so we're seeing on the word cloud that what we already do to support our readers is we do small group reading, we hold individual conferences, we teach comprehension strategies, phonics programs, blah, blah, blah. All right, so now is the fun part because we're going to jump into engineered text. So I'm going to hand out to you some pieces of engineered text that's already been engineered. And what I would like for you to do is first just look at the text and jot silently. So the pieces of engineered text are on larger Post-it paper. You're just going to jot out to the side, silently having a conversation. This way you can respond to each other. But you're going to notice and jot silently. Then when I call time, you'll number the members of your group of 4 from 1 to 4. You'll each take turns sharing one idea, and each person will share their idea for about 1 minute. So I'll lead you through this process right now. You've got the Post-it papers on your table. You're already in groups of 4. Go ahead and notice and jot silently. When about 1 minute has gone by, I'll ask them to stop, or I'll check in to see if they need more time. Ask them to number their members, get them to take turns sharing an idea, and get them to speak for 1 minute each. So I'll time them for that. Here are the pieces of engineered text. There, I'll actually skip these slides in the presentation, but these are what are going to be on the Post-it paper. Here's another piece of engineered text at a different level. And then there's the final one. Okay. So when you had your conversations with your groups, I heard you saying that these pieces of engineered text are great because they allow for scaffolds to be placed into the text to help support our readers and to kind of make it more equitable, right? So if I'm teaching 6th grade social studies and I really want to use a particular article, instead of passing the same article out to everyone, which is not accessible to every reader in the classroom, I can use text engineering to support and scaffold those that I know are struggling a bit or have additional challenges and gaps in reading. When would I use it? When a text is too challenging for all students to read, which is almost all the time, especially if you just pull an article off of Google or ReadWorks or Tween Tribune or any of those other sources. If you pull one article off of there, chances are it's going to be too challenging for at least one person in the room. Who is it for? Anyone. Specifically L students, EC students, but anyone in the classroom with reading difficulties. And what is it? It's a strategy to make text more accessible. All right. It could also look like this. So it could also be part of your instruction. Let's say that this is a slide. You're talking about outsourcing. You can see on this slide, the teacher does not just have a ton of text about what outsourcing is. There is a student-friendly definition. There's only one concept there. There's a map, a visual. There's something that they can relate it to, H&M. And then they're using images to visualize and examples. A lot of scaffolds there to make it more engaging, more interesting, and easier to understand than putting a lot of information on one slide. Here's another way to text engineer in a direct instruction. This is a content-specific, sentence, paragraph. So each paragraph gets its own slide. We're adding images, synonyms. You can do it a lot of different ways, even videos. So how do I differentiate playing a video? I can't really edit the video like I can a text, but I can turn on captions in a certain language. I can change the speed, and I can change how much I pause and what questions I ask when I do pause, right? Maybe I do a turn and talk. Maybe I explain something. Maybe I have everyone jot a note, a picture. Some adjustable text sites. So these are all sites that are in your agenda, but these are all sites that have text for you. You can choose a grade level, sometimes a topic, sometimes a standard. However, sometimes you can adjust it, sometimes you can't, and it's not always, so if it says 4th grade and you just go to 4th grade, doesn't mean all 4th graders can read it, right? They're just kind of guessing based on the lexile, but it depends on the student's background knowledge and their ability to decode and their, if they know the vocabulary in the text. So you take that with a grain of salt, you know your kids best. And then on the right-hand side, there's some ways to adjust text with online sites. But what we're going to do is I'm going to model for you what adjusting a text could look like, and then you're going to get a chance. So this little clipboard here are all the things that you already noticed about text engineering when you were looking at the example. So they chunked the text, so they used subtitles, focus questions, images, captions, spaces in the margin, bolded words, vocabulary support, and voice recordings occasionally. You can use Moat for that if you're using a Google Doc, and I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So we are going to take a look at one piece of text. Ooh, let's see if I can get to it here. Susan B. Anthony. We'll let it load. We're imagining that we are a history teacher and maybe it's 8th grade or something. We want our students to read this text. I am going to find the link because that's taking a long time. So the original article looks like this. I found it on Tween Tribune. Why women bring their I voted stickers to Susan B. Anthony's grave. So I want students to read this. There's a couple problems with this as a teacher that I'm having with my class. There's a lot of text here. There are ads, there are pop-ups. There's a lot of links here that can be distracting. This is a lot, and it is just not in a good format for my kids to read, but I love this article and I really would like us to read and discuss it. So then I'm going to choose, see, this is even a pop-up right there. I'm going to choose what is my medium. Do I want to use a Google Doc, a Google Slide, Word? Like, what do I want to use to, like, I am going to copy and paste it, giving credit to the author, in another format. For these purposes, I chose a Google Slides for me to engineer the text, but you could definitely also put it in a Google Doc. Let me show you what that looks like. Depending on where your students are at in their reading, you could have some students use the Google Doc text to see this is just straight text all the way down, and some students using the Google Slides. So I would ask students, all right, go ahead and find your group of slides. I would have, so this article is 7 slides long. I would have each 7 in a different color all the way down, only because I'll show you in a minute how I can watch everybody work and see how they're doing. So they're going to claim their slide right here. I'm going to do these first pink 7 slides, and I'm going to put my number right there. As a teacher, how I broke up this huge text into here, I just put the title and the first image on there to gain interest. Okay, and then how I broke it up here is I just took each paragraph and put it on a different slide. This one has 2. And then as I'm working, maybe I want to even change that even further. So I'm going to show you what else I might do. I might change the margins. So I want students to be able to write in the margins different comments. So I might change these margins here and these margins here, because I want students to make notes over here. But on the other side, I might want to write things myself. So if I make like the left-hand side the teacher type side and the right-hand side the student type side, then that makes sense. I could even you know, put a box around it, so then it stays this way. And when students are typing, what I might have them write on the right-hand side is, what is the main idea of this section of text? So they're reading about Susan B. Anthony, her death here, what her funeral looked like. So the student might write, what Anthony's funeral was like. She seems very famous. Maybe they don't know anything about her. Okay, they're just jotting a little note over there. As a teacher, maybe I think that they need more supports than this. So on this side, maybe I want to add an image of Susan B. Anthony so they like know who she is. Or I may want to take out some of these links first, actually. So if I click here, her funeral, this is a book about her and her life. I'm actually going to unlink that because I think it's distracting to students. And then I'm going to look for maybe a word that they don't understand, suffrage. And I'm going to use Moat, which is a Google add-on, and record, allow microphone. I'm going to record, it's making me sign in, so I'll do that later, but I'm going to record what suffrage is. And they can come to this and just click it, and it will define what suffrage is in the teacher's voice. I might want to add an image of Susan B. Anthony over to the left, so I can just copy and paste that in. This talks about I voted stickers. You can see them on the first image, but maybe my students have never seen an I voted sticker. So let's just take one and just stick it in there so they know what they're talking about, right? Like, we get these stickers when we vote. We might also want to, let's see, Blizzard, they probably know what that is, Rochester, New York. So maybe I want to put like a map of Rochester, New York. And it doesn't need to take long. It doesn't need to be beautiful, but whatever we think would help our students, we're going to add there, and leaving plenty of room for student notes. Another piece, moving these in because I want to do the same thing here. This one has a lot of links. I don't want them to go to Huffington Post for no reason. I'm gonna get rid of that. Maybe some of these are helpful. So Mount Hope Cemetery, let me see if I want my kids to see what that is. I don't know if that's really gonna help them. So I'm gonna get rid of that link too. So you see how I'm just kind of like looking at what is here and deciding how do I want to help my students. I could decide to come back here and say, okay, well, I want a heading here. Maybe I want to change this to say Anthony's funeral service. So they're going to know when they read that, that's what it's going to be all about. They don't have to figure out that piece of it. It takes away some of the mental load. Anthony's funeral services. Okay, come down here. I read this part. It's still talking about the funeral services, but it's more talking about what the cemetery's take on it and what happened at the cemetery. So maybe that's the heading for this one. It still talks about Rochester, so I don't need to put that again. But maybe there's something else that I want to change here, like legacy. She isn't the only one. As of 6:15 yesterday, the grave in Rochester's Mount Hope Cemetery was covered with 2 bouquets and at least 28 stickers. If I think students are going to struggle with the word bouquets, a lot of students do, even 8th graders, maybe I want to use Moat to just say the word for them, bouquets. It's a quick recording and it's in there. All right. So what we're going to do now is you are going to choose whether you want to use one of my sample texts here. I have a K2 piece. These are also in your agenda. K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12. You can also go back to these adjustable text sites and choose your own. I just put some here in case you wanted to use mine for quick and easy. Choose a medium. Do you want to use it Google Slides like me? Did you like this Google Doc option? You can do the same things with Moat. It's a little bit harder to add images and things, but you definitely can. You can definitely add headings that way and a lot of different features. And then you're going to try it out. So keep in mind these ideas on the clipboard here. Bring it back to my slideshow. And I will be walking around and helping you out, but please open a piece of text, choose a medium, and let's get started. All right, so during this time, I will be walking around and helping you out and being there in case you want to some support downloading Moat or any other feature. All right, now that we've had some time to practice with this and try it out a little bit, let's think about what thoughts we still have or what questions, even aha moments we have throughout this presentation. What is still lingering or what's something that, an idea that you're excited to try? If you'll jot this on your agenda under your initial intention. So when I first started this presentation, we talked about what is your intention for this session? If you'll go back and just jot it there or jot it at the bottom, that is fine too. And then let's just share out a few. After we've done that, I thought it would be helpful if you had some of the strategies that we participated in today, in case that's what you're taking from today's session. You participated in the $2 summary, Rally Robin activity, and musical shares. So if you click on any of those links, it will take you to more information about any of those. All right, well, thank you so much for coming. Here is my contact information again, so you can find me after today. Of course, feel free to come up and ask me some questions as we're sort of transitioning to your next session. But thank you so much for being such active participants today, and I hope that you got something out of today's session. Have a great day.